Hello again, football fans. It is October 12th, Tuesday, 2021. And right now, it is Georgia Bulldogs world. And everybody else is a question mark. Georgia is firmly in control of the number one spot in everything, including the college football playoff. And 2, 3, and 4 right now, it's not even worth putting anybody there, I don't think. There's too many people that are vying for those spots right now. And there's going to have to be a lot of sorting out done. I think Cincinnati has a good shot at going undefeated, obviously, and I just still have a hard time thinking that the committee is going to let a team that only has one real honest game under their belt, and that's Notre Dame, and that's always questionable. You know, they let Notre Dame in every year, and they get absolutely embarrassed by an actual national championship contender. And so I have a hard time thinking that Cincinnati's gonna worm their way in, even if everybody else has one loss. I still think any one loss Big Five conference champion is going to go in ahead of Cincinnati. But, you know, all of that remains to be seen, as usual. Moving right into this week's picks, I'll start off with the national upset pick. You know, I kind of have roped myself into doing this every week, and I've learned that it's a fool's errand to try to pick an upset every week. But I'm doing it now, so I'm going to pick again, and I'm going to pick on Oklahoma again. As tough as this is, I might as well just keep going to the well enough times, and eventually they'll slip up. They got TCU coming in this week. You know, they're they're 13.5-point favorites, and I'm going to average that up to 14. So that's my big upset pick. TCU over Oklahoma. Probably won't happen, but we'll see. Moving on to the big one, and, you know, everybody's wondering what Alabama's going to look like this week. You know, I'm having a tough time reading the room here. I don't know what to expect. I don't know. This team did just enough bad things and just enough good things last week to really leave me in the dark. Every unit. I mean, the moment in that game that just sort of captured the whole game were those back-to-back special teams plays. The block, punt, and then the kickoff return. And that is exactly how Alabama played the whole night on all units. You know, they were doing wonderful things some of the time and terrible things some of the time as well. But luckily, the things on offense were all fixable. It was drops. It was, you know, subpar play calling, things like that. And except for the offensive line, that was the part that really concerned me. But I still don't think that's unfixable because those guys haven't played that many games together, and, you know, as the season wears on, luckily we don't really have too many big threats. This Mississippi State game is making me a little bit nervous because Mike Leach and everything, and coming off of the loss, and we really don't know how this team's going to respond to something like this. They responded well after the close game to Florida, so I'm going to go ahead and be an optimist and expect them to respond well to the loss in College Station, although Starkville is not a good place to try to get well. But I do believe that Alabama's strength on the lines over Mississippi State is going to be their salvation this week. And I also think that coming off a loss, they're going to be extra motivated, obviously. I'm sure they had a really rough week of practice so far and will continue to until Saturday, and they'll go into Starkville very, very angry and motivated, and they'll come out strong. They'll score marching right down the field like they normally do on the first possession that they have, and I believe the defense is going to hold Mississippi State scoreless in the first half. And Alabama will score one touchdown at the beginning of the first quarter and another one at the end of the first quarter. And then they'll get a touchdown and a field goal to wrap up the half and go in 24-0. And then they'll come out and they will promptly give up a touchdown to Mike Leach because that will have been 6 straight quarters without Mike Leach scoring, and I just don't think he's going to allow himself to go 7. And then Alabama will score again during the third quarter to make it 31-7, and they will score again in the fourth quarter, making it 38-7. And Mike Leach will get another garbage touchdown in because Pete Golding, I don't trust him to be able to help himself from doing that at least once a game. So 38-14 final, Alabama over the Mississippi State Bulldogs in Stark Vegas. And moving on to the rest of the conference, it's going to be a wild week, another great week of games, and I just feel like a lot of these are going to be crazy. First one starting off, Auburn and Arkansas. That's a noon Eastern, so it'll be 11. I think 11 in Arkansas, and I feel like Arkansas has just more momentum, and they've got the benefit of a coach that's been there for another season, extra season, and that quarterback looks to me to be a little bit more of a sure bet than Bo Nix at this point. So I'm going to say Arkansas wins a wild one, 34-31 in Fayetteville. Next up, we got Florida at LSU. Morning games are historically bad for LSU, even with the best of teams. And this year, I just feel like Florida is going to go in there and wipe them out. Something not very majestic or impressive, really, but it'll be a 31-7 Florida rout of the Bengal Tigers in their place. Texas A&M at Missouri. Now, this is an interesting game because it's another morning game, and Texas A&M obviously is coming off a very emotional, tough game against Alabama, and I expect them to be a little bit hungover in this game, and they will struggle a little bit to put away Missouri, but they will wind up winning 38-20. And the big game of the week is Kentucky at Georgia. You know, I almost want to feel bad for Kentucky because they finally have all this momentum behind them and a great-looking team that, maybe 5 years ago could have snuck in that SEC Eastern slot in the championship game. But unfortunately, this year they're up against a historically great-looking Georgia squad who both of these teams kind of do the same thing. They want to power you and run the ball, lean on you. Throw on play action and obviously play hard-nosed defense. But Georgia's got the better players, so in those kind of instances, if it's two similar styles, go with the talent. And I'm going to go with Georgia at home in this one. Kentucky will probably make it interesting for a half and maybe a little bit of the third quarter. But Georgia will take over. Their lines will just lean on them in the fourth. And I expect this one to end something in the neighborhood of 38-21. No, they're not going to allow that many points. Let's say 31-17, Georgia. All right, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, the bottom of the barrel bowl. I like South Carolina in this one. Their defense is tough, and they'll be able to score some points, and Vanderbilt won't be able to score as many. And the score in this one is going to be South Carolina 28, Vanderbilt 14. Alabama, Mississippi State, we already talked about that. Ole Miss at Tennessee, I feel like this is going to be another wild one. Tennessee has shown that they can put up a lot of points pretty consistently, and Ole Miss obviously can as well. And so I think Tennessee has the better defense, but I do think that Ole Miss's offense is dynamic enough to make them look not all that great. And I just believe that Matt Corral is going to be too much for Tennessee and Knoxville. And their dream season, not quite a dream season, but their overachievement might come to an end a little bit this Saturday. And I think Matt Corral is going to put 2 more touchdowns on the board than Tennessee and wind up beating them 52-38. And that are my Week 7 SEC predictions and college football predictions. And we'll be coming at you with another one soon. Thank you.